A couple of weeks ago, I released a video on the new-ish Mick Thomson signature LTD. Mick Thomson being one of the guitar players from Slipknot, you know, if you're a casual fan or something. A lot of you shared your criticisms of his move to LTD and expressed that he had better signature guitars through Jackson and even 𝗦eci before that, but definitely not as 𝗦ci Rich, like no one's defending that one.
It is kind of all style, no substance. It doesn't stay in tune, it doesn't hold E standard, let alone drop B, and then the bridge just goes boom.
So I listened, and when the opportunity to trade for a Mick Thomson Pro SL2 came up, I hopped on it. And then when it showed up, what the fuck? Yeah, we're gonna have to get into that in this video. But I wouldn't be able to get into anything if it wasn't for today's sponsor, Squarespace. Tired of your website looking like hot garbage? I mean, don't you want customers? With Squarespace's cutting-edge design tools, you don't need to be a designer or even know what CSS stands for. Just tell Blueprint AI who you are and what you do, and boom, your dream website practically builds itself. Add Acuity scheduling and let people book your time without the back and forth emails that make you question your life's choices. Maybe you don't like smelling people's hot breath in person. You can sell online courses, blogs, videos, and memberships to your self-improvement workshop for yodeling-based fitness influencers. And with built-in SEO tools, your site gets discovered faster, so your business can finally stop hiding on page 7 of Google. The best part about Squarespace is it's free to try. You don't need to give them your credit card information or anything to start building your website if you just want to test it out. It's easy to use and easy to get started today. So start your free trial by using the link in the description below and give your website the look it deserves. Okay, we gotta get to the video now. Okay, normally what I would be doing in this segment is plugging the guitar in and kind of getting a feel for it, but this guitar didn't have strings when it arrived. So we're not gonna do that, but what I am gonna do is pull this thing out of the case because I didn't really get, you know, when I unboxed it, I just kind of looked at it real quick and I was like, oh cool, it's here. You know. This is a Jackson Pro Series signature Mick Thomson Soloist SL2, and this particular one is in the Arctic white finish. It has a mahogany body with an ultra-thin maple neck through 25.5-inch scale neck. Actually, when I was holding this guitar and playing it for the first time, I was like, this is definitely not a speed neck profile. We'll get into the neck profile more as well as measuring it later on in this video. The fretboard material is made out of ebony. It has a 12 to 16-inch compound radius and 24 jumbo frets. And one of the things that I think is really cool, not only about this guitar, but his signature 𝗦eci, are these side position markers on the fretboard. For the electronics, we have two 𝗦ci blackouts. I don't know what 𝗦ci stands for. I think they're signature blackouts, but I digress. We have a 3-way pickup selector and one master volume knob, no tone knob. My kind of guitar. Now for the bridge, I think this is the most contentious piece of this guitar. We have a Jackson MTB HT6 hardtail bridge, which is essentially like a Floyd Rose, just with no springs. It actually locks down. This is not my favorite feature, but we'll get into this more later in the video. And at the time this was released, this came in at $999. Just, you know what, it was $1,000. Let's just call it $1,000. I'm just gonna pull this thing out of the case right now and see if I can sort of inspect anything and come across anything that I need to address, because we're just gonna go straight into the setup now. You know, one of the kind of weird and unique things about this guitar is it has a Floyd Rose tremolo, but it's not really a Floyd Rose. It's like a locked Floyd Rose. Look at this. So this bridge system very much looks like a traditional Floyd Rose. I mean, the shape of it's definitely a little bit different than a Floyd Rose, but if you look underneath it here, there is a little lock locking this thing down. So the strings pull the tension up on this guy, and then it just kind of stays locked into place. Why they didn't just have a hardtail bridge is a little bit beyond me, but I guess maybe, you know, you wanted the fine tuners. It honestly seems to me like this would be more of a hassle than it's worth. And I am actually missing, hopefully they're in the case. They are not. That might be a problem. I'm actually missing a few of these guys. I'm gonna have to look around before I vacuum my room and see if they fell out here or whatever. I think I actually have some extras though. We'll worry about all this when we get over on the bench. Like you can see, this is just actually loose too, so I'm obviously gonna need to tighten that down when I intonate it. I'm gonna have to clean this quite a bit. I'm gonna have to clean the frets too. There's a lot of oxidation and fret wear on this guitar. You know, other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape here. A little crack in the finish up at the horn here, and then there's another crack up here, and I think that crack is just in the finish. You know, it's not like I can squeeze it closed or anything, so I'm pretty sure it's just in the finish. Other than that, it looks like we're in pretty good shape here. Oh, look. We do have the original battery in here as well. Other than that, that's weird. I kind of have a predicament here. Now, I need to emphasize that I got this guitar on trade from one of my patrons who's been a patron for a really long time, someone that I like really trust. I feel like I know this person pretty well, and I don't feel like they're sketchy or malicious in any way. I think that like this is just a weird situation that I need to get to the bottom of. But while I was going over everything, and I don't know how I missed this when I unboxed it and looked at it originally, I noticed that part of the serial number is scratched off the headstock. It's a big issue for me. Not only do I not want to be in possession of stolen gear, but if this guitar is in fact stolen, I want to get it back to the owner, because I would fucking hate for that to happen to me. And like, I could just imagine how shitty that would feel, and I just don't want any part of it. I contacted the person who traded me this guitar and asked them what was up with that, and they told me they bought it off Reverb. They can't remember what the reason was for the serial number being scratched off, but hopefully they can just forward me that information, and like, it's not sketchy. But I do want to go through and finish setting this up anyways, because either way, I want to make lemonade out of these lemons. You know, whether this guitar ends up being stolen, and then hopefully we can figure out whose guitar it was and where it came from and all that, and then get it back into the hands of the rightful person with, you know, a good clean setup. And then, you know, if it's not, then it's just weird, and that's fine. You know, if it's just like a weird but legit reason, then cool, we just move on. But yeah, so I just needed to say that. Okay, so I managed to get the frets and the fretboard all scrubbed down yesterday, and then I just spent a lot of time going back and forth with the person that traded me this guitar, looking at the original Reverb listing that he purchased it from, trying to talk to Jackson directly. So I don't want to go off on too much of a side quest on this video. This is something I'm going to have to follow up, because it's probably going to take a lot of time and effort to go through and figure out, you know, does this guitar belong to someone that got it stolen? Is there a valid reason to scratch serial numbers off a guitar? I don't know those things. I did go through several online databases of stolen guitars, and I didn't come across anything, but you know, I don't know, what does that mean? Not much, I guess. It's gonna take me a lot of time to figure this whole thing out too, so we'll split this into a separate video, but for now, let's just keep going on this one, okay? Okay, so I realize my earlier statements probably left a lot of you with more questions than answers, and believe me, I feel the same way right now. After I talked to the person that traded me this guitar, they dug through their Reverb history and sent me the listing. Now, the listing is from a seller who, as far as I can tell, does not exist anymore. However, at the time of his purchase, it looked like they had plenty of reviews and they were 5-star sellers, so no reason to really question this person's credentials, I guess. But in the Reverb listing, there was a sticker over the serial number, and in the description, the seller gave some reason for why they would cover up the serial number. Something about how they buy these guitars bulk from the original manufacturers, and they're like defect guitars, and the manufacturers require them to cover the serial number so that way they're non-competing or whatever. I am trying to talk to Jackson to see if that's a real thing. Sounds kind of weird to me if it is, but you know, I don't know, there have been weirder things before. I mean, there is a chance that this guitar could be legit, but in my opinion, there's no reason to remove part of a serial number unless something is stolen. So you know, I don't know, we're just gonna have to see where this goes. I'm in talks with a lot of people. The next thing I have to do is probably contact the police in the area where this guitar was sold. I'm blurring out a lot of stuff in this video right now because I don't want 100 people messaging me saying like, oh, that's my guitar, it was stolen, you know, and then just referencing things in my video to claim its authenticity. Hopefully you guys understand that. I try to get scammed for guitars enough as is anyways. This is pretty much an open door for someone to try to scam me. So if you or someone you know did in fact have a stolen Mick Thomson Jackson, hopefully you have a police report that you filed after it was stolen. You know, you can email that to me. My email is on my YouTube page. You can email that information to me and I will look over to verify its authenticity. But most likely, you know, I'm just going to try and work with like the official channels on this one to see what happens. Or in the case that it's legitimate, yay, it's just weird. I'm just pulling these pickups up right now to see if there's anything underneath them, anything that would be of note down here. And there's not. It's just a whole lot of nothing down here. I did polish this thing down, I did clean it up. I think we're just gonna hit this neck one more time before I put the new strings on it. For strings, I am using Stringjoy 11 through 56. We're going to tune this to drop B, I think that's where we're gonna land. So this will work well for that. maybe I'm the first person in this guitar's whole chain of owners that thought that was a weird thing. I don't really know. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, information-wise, just so you guys are aware. This guitar setup came out very good, though. And there it is. Everything is clean, set up perfectly. I did have to do quite a bit of work to this guitar. It was set up kind of funky. This whole thing, not really a fan of this. It's like you have all of the hassle and headache of a Floyd Rose with none of the benefits. It's a really weird system. I don't understand. You know, I guess the idea is that you have this super stable locked down tuning. You have the fine tuners down here, but you know, this thing doesn't move, so it doesn't have any of the shortcomings of the Floyd Rose. But I look at it the opposite way, because it's like you have to go through all of the hassle when you set this up in terms of like intonating with their weird intonation system here, changing strings. Like, it's all the same as a normal Floyd Rose, but you have no whammy time, which is the fun part of a Floyd Rose, right? Like, I guess if you think about a Floyd Rose system, you think about super tuning stability and everything being locked down, but it's only in the context of taking the bridge and making it go wow, 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 you know? So, I don't know. It's a weird choice to me here. They should have just put a hip shot bridge on this, in my opinion. I completely forgot to give you guys neck measurements here. What the fuck am I doing, man? I got so distracted by all the other things with this guitar, I just forgot this part. Nut width is 43.23 millimeters, or 1.70 inches, but the 12th we are 52.9 millimeters, or 2.08 inches. In terms of thickness here, actually a little bit surprising. We're at 19.8 millimeters at the first fret, which is 0.78 inches. That seems a bit thick for a speed neck to me, but maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe he wanted a little bit thicker of a speed neck. And then up here at the 12th, we are at 21.3 millimeters, or 0.83 inches. That seems slightly thick for a speed neck to me, but not really on the crazy side or anything. I mean, it seems pretty within spec for a speed neck, but you know, I would expect something closer to 19 millimeters on the first fret. Maybe this is a slightly different profile. I haven't, at this point in the video, looked up the specs yet, even though you might have seen them. But yeah, let's plug it in. What's up, guys? We have this possibly sketchy Mick Thomson Jackson soloist, SL2 soloist, plugged into this VHT Deliverance. You know, not because this is something Mick Thomson or Slipknot used, just because I wanted to. That is being boosted with the devil from my company, Obsidian Audio. It's all running through this Mesa oversized 4x12 cab. I've been miking it up with things just... Now I'm trying to put my personal biases and my ethical biases, I guess. I'm trying to put those aside for this video just so I can relay the things about this guitar that I think you might want to know if you were interested in one, you know, if you were looking at them on the used market, because I don't sell them anymore. Just knowing how I feel about Seymour Duncan Blackouts, I feel like the pickups are probably the thing that I'm not liking about this guitar, because as far as playing it, it plays great. It plays really, really wonderful. But I can always tell how notes articulate with that riff specifically. They're just not articulating that great, you know? It just sounds really mushy. There are some things that I really like about this guitar and some things that I feel like are not so great about it. But before that, let's go to as clean of a sound as we can get out of this amplifier, which is not gonna be the cleanest thing in the world, but here's the bridge. Here's the neck. And here's the middle. And we don't have any push-pull or anything on this, so it's just those three positions. Not as versatile as the LTD in that consideration, even though the LTD only has one pickup. It still is a Fishman and it has all the, you know, voicing options and stuff, and I feel like it has more options in terms of what it can do. It plays really, really well. Now, a few things about that. Mick came over to Jackson after being at Ibanez for a long time, and in a lot of ways, this guitar shares some similarities with his Ibanez guitar. If you notice the side dot markers, they're not dots at all. They're just these fat lines. I actually really like this because it's very obvious what fret you're playing on here, you know, and I can imagine being on a big stage every night like Mick would probably be at this time, you know, this just being really convenient to be able to see where you are. But side dot markers versus no side dot markers versus these fat lines that are right here, when you're playing this and you're seeing this out of your peripheral, it does give you like a different sort of, I don't know, vibe, I guess, or feeling. You know, when you're playing it, it just gives me this really interesting feeling when I'm playing it. Like I'm really grabbing onto chords and notes and things, you know? I don't know, maybe it's just because I've watched that video of him in the studio so many times. Maybe, but it definitely feels different. Now, in terms of neck feel, I mentioned it a couple times in this video. I hadn't looked up the specs until just right now. This is listed as an ultra thin neck. It's not listed as a Jackson Spee neck. Oh, hey, just me from the future realizing that I should probably take another measurement on this neck at the 2nd fret since it thins out a lot after the 1st fret. Okay, just like I thought, I'm glad I did this. We are almost exactly 19 millimeters up here at the 2nd fret, which comes out to 0.74 inches. So you can see what I'm talking about here. The neck thickness in between the 1st and the 2nd fret reduces by about a whole millimeter. It's very, very noticeable when you're playing it. Definitely not a speed neck profile, but very cool nonetheless. So, you know, it's very interesting for a band like Slipknot that plays a lot of riffs like that, where you're fretting on the 1st fret a lot. You know, you can really grab on down here, and it does give you a little bit of extra heft to do that. The other thing that I found really interesting about playing this, especially compared to the other soloist I have, is this feels much flatter. There is a carve for the arm right here, but it's pretty steep and it's right at the corner. And we do have a belly cut on this guitar, but it is flat, you know, it's not arched at all. Like this. I gotta get out my other soloist now. I just feel like I have to prove this to myself. No, I guess it's a lot the same on this soloist as well. I don't know, it's just, maybe it's because that guitar is white, it feels bigger and flatter. But yeah, it is actually very similar to this guitar in a lot of ways, except for the neck profile. The neck profile on this guitar is just much straighter, it doesn't get thicker at the 1st fret. Okay, this was actually a good guitar for reference. Maybe the color and the gloss is just messing with me. I don't play enough white glossy guitars, I guess. Okay, so back to the premise of this video. You remember how I started this video? Do I think this is a better guitar than the LTD? Yeah, actually I do. I think it's a lot better of a guitar for a few reasons. Let me explain. The things that I don't like about this guitar, I'm not a huge fan of the blackout pickups. I'm not a huge fan of this. I mean, it's cool and it's different, I guess, but it's kind of annoying. You know, it's a little thing, but the little things do add up. I'm not a big fan of this bridge system. I wish it was just a hardtail bridge as someone who really likes Floyd Rose tremolos. I just wish that this was a hardtail bridge. Those are the only things that really bother me, and they're pretty minimal, to be honest with you. I really like the inlays on this. I like the neck profile as well. I do like how it gets chunkier down here, especially playing it in a drop tuning. I feel like it kind of gives me some weight on the chungus, you know? Obviously, I love that it has a reverse headstock. I love that it has a single volume knob, no tone knob. There's a lot of really great things about this guitar. But I'm a Jackson guy. Like, I prefer Jacksons over LTDs. So, you know, it's kind of a biased thing for me to say. Maybe you like LTDs more than Jackson guitars. I just feel like this has so much Jackson-ness involved in it that it makes me gravitate towards it more. In my opinion, yeah, this is a better guitar, but that might differ for you, and that's okay. As the saying goes, variety is the spice of life. Now, if you were gonna buy one of these guitars, there's a couple things that I would change right away. The first thing I would do is I would change out the tuners and take into account this guitar has been through several hands before me, so, you know, who knows what condition these things were in new, but now they're not great, and it would just really be nice to have a nice set of tuners on here because I was fighting these things quite a bit when I was doing the setup. The other thing on this guitar that I would probably replace sooner than later are these little pieces that lock the strings down and the screws here for the Floyd Rose. I don't know what's called, the Mick Thomson bridge, but it's Floyd Rose. You know, you're gonna buy Floyd Rose parts for it. Maybe even the saddles. This bridge to me feels like a special. It just doesn't feel as quality as the more common Floyd Rose 1000 series bridges. Now this guitar specifically is kind of weird for me to play. It's giving me weirdish vibes, and that's because, you know, like you guys have seen, the serial number on the back and me not knowing if this is a sketchy guitar or not. I'm still in the phase as of right now recording this video where I don't really know the origins of this guitar and I'm trying to figure it out. Hopefully we'll get that resolved soon. I will follow this up in the future. I'm just gonna hold on to this guitar until I have clarification on what's going on with it, and then I can kind of decide what to do with it from there. Feels like a weird time for a call to action, but you know, if you're interested in seeing the conclusion of this, make sure you're subscribed for that. All right, shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and allowing me to, you know, do this with my life and bring these videos to you guys, but more importantly, shout out to you for being here with me. Really appreciate it. If you like this video, make sure to do the things so that YouTube knows to suggest you more of my videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.